My beloved child, I see the longing in your heart. The desire for abundance, for security, for a life free from financial worries. Today, I speak to you about wealth, but not in the way the world defines it. This message is a divine appointment, a sacred conversation between us about the true nature of abundance and the secret to lasting wealth. Have you ever wondered why, despite your hard work and earnest prayers, financial prosperity seems to elude you? Why does it feel like others effortlessly attract abundance while you struggle to make ends meet? My child, what if I told you that the secret to wealth has been within your grasp all along, hidden in plain sight? In this moment, as our hearts connect across the vastness of creation, I invite you to pause. Take a deep breath. Feel the air filling your lungs, a reminder of the life I've breathed into you. With each exhale, release the anxiety, the frustration, and the fear that have accompanied your financial journey. For in this space between breaths, I'm about to reveal to you a truth that will transform not just your finances, but your entire life. The world has taught you to view wealth through a narrow lens, a number in a bank account, the size of a house, the brand of a car. But I see wealth differently. True wealth, my child, is not measured in coins and bills, but in the richness of your spirit, the abundance of your love, and the depth of your faith. Consider the lilies of the field, how they grow. They neither toil nor spin, yet I tell you, even Solomon in all his glory was not arrayed like one of these. If I so clothe the grass of the field, which today is alive and tomorrow is thrown into the oven, will I not much more clothe you, O you of little faith? Matthew 6 verses 28 to 30. This scripture isn't just a poetic musing. It's a profound truth about the nature of true wealth. The secret to abundance lies not in chasing after material possessions, but in aligning your heart with the infinite riches of my kingdom. But let me be clear, I'm not advocating for a life of poverty or telling you to shun material success. No, the secret to wealth I'm sharing with you today is about achieving a harmony between the spiritual and the material, about understanding that true abundance flows from a heart that's rich in faith, gratitude, and love. Think back to a moment when you felt truly wealthy. Perhaps it wasn't when you received a paycheck or bought something expensive. Maybe it was when you shared a meal with loved ones, when you helped someone in need, or when you felt a deep sense of purpose in your work. That feeling, that sense of fullness, of having more than enough, that's the essence of true wealth. The secret to wealth begins with a shift in perspective. It's about recognizing that you are already rich beyond measure. You are a child of the Most High God, heir to all the riches of my kingdom. Your worth isn't determined by your net worth, but by the infinite value I place on you. But how do we bridge the gap between this spiritual truth and the practical realities of your financial life? That's what we'll explore together in this message. I'll show you how to tap into the abundance that's already within you and around you. You'll learn how to cultivate a mindset of plenty, how to steward your resources wisely, and how to align your actions with the principles of divine prosperity. This journey we're embarking on isn't just about accumulating money. It's about creating a life of true abundance, one where your cup overflows not just with material blessings, but with joy, peace, and purpose. It's about understanding that wealth is not just something you pursue, but something you create and share. As we delve deeper into this message, I want you to open your heart and mind. Some of what I share might challenge your existing beliefs about money and success. That's okay. Growth often requires us to step out of our comfort zones and see things from a new perspective. Remember, my child, that I am the God who turned water into wine, who fed thousands with just a few loaves and fish. I am the God of abundance, of more than enough. And the same power that performed these miracles resides within you. You have been created in my image, with the ability to co-create, to manifest, to bring forth abundance in your life and in the lives of others. But here's a crucial truth I want you to grasp. The secret to wealth isn't about asking me to simply drop blessings into your lap. It's about partnering with me, about aligning your thoughts, beliefs, and actions with the principles of my kingdom. It's about becoming a conduit for abundance, allowing the riches of my grace to flow through you and touch the lives of others. As we continue this journey together, I want you to participate actively. This isn't just a message to be passively consumed. It's an invitation to transformation. So, I encourage you to engage with this content deeply. Reflect on the truths shared. Apply the principles to your life. And most importantly, share your experiences. In fact, right now, I invite you to pause this video and leave a comment below. Share one area of your financial life where you're seeking breakthrough. Is it in your career, your business, Your personal finances? Your ability to give generously? Whatever it is, type it out. This act of sharing is powerful. It's a declaration of faith, an acknowledgement that you're ready for change. And while you're at it, why not subscribe to this channel? Each message here is carefully crafted to nourish your spirit and guide you towards a life of purpose and abundance. By subscribing, you're making a commitment to your own growth and transformation. Now, as we prepare to dive deeper into the secret of wealth, I want you to remember this. You are not alone in this journey. I am with you always, guiding you, supporting you, cheering you on. The path to true wealth may not always be easy, but I promise you, it will be worth it. In the coming sections, we'll explore the mindsets, habits, and spiritual principles that unlock lasting abundance. We'll confront the limiting beliefs that have held you back and replace them with empowering truths. We'll discover how generosity, gratitude, and faith are not just virtues, but powerful forces that attract prosperity into your life. Are you ready, my beloved, to unlock the secret to wealth? Are you prepared to step into a life of true abundance? Then let's begin this transformative journey together. The riches of my kingdom await you. As we embark on this exploration of true wealth, I want you to understand that this journey is about much more than just improving your financial situation. It's about aligning your entire life with the principles of divine abundance. It's about recognizing that every aspect of your existence, your relationships, your health, your work, your spiritual life, all play a role in your overall wealth and well-being. Think of wealth as a garden. A thriving garden doesn't just have one type of plant, does it? It's a diverse ecosystem, with various plants supporting and enhancing each other's growth. In the same way, true wealth is a harmonious balance of different elements in your life. Financial prosperity is indeed one part of this garden. Money, when viewed correctly, is a tool, a means to an end, not the end itself. It's like the water that nourishes the garden. Too little, and the plants struggle to grow. Too much, and they might drown or rot. The secret is in finding the right balance, and using money wisely to nurture growth in all areas of your life. But what are the other plants in this garden of wealth? There's the sturdy tree of strong relationships, family, friends, community. These connections provide support, joy, and a sense of belonging that no amount of money can buy. There's the vibrant flower of good health, physical, mental, and emotional well-being that allows you to fully enjoy the fruits of your labor. There's the fertile soil of personal growth and learning, constantly enriching your life with new experiences and wisdom. And at the center of this garden, providing nutrients to every other plant, is your spiritual life, your connection with me. This is the rich, fertile soil from which all other forms of wealth grow. When this connection is strong, when you're rooted deeply in my love and guidance, you'll find that every other aspect of your life flourishes. So as we delve into the secret of wealth, I want you to expand your definition of what it means to be wealthy. Yes, we'll talk about financial principles and how to improve your material circumstances, but we'll do so within the context of this broader, more holistic view of abundance. Now, you might be thinking, but Jesus, I've heard all this before. I've tried to think positively about money. I've prayed for financial breakthrough, but nothing seems to change. I understand your frustration, my child, and that's why we're going beyond surface-level advice and feel-good platitudes. We're going to dig deep into the root causes of financial struggle and uncover the transformative truths that will set you free. In the coming sections, we'll explore questions like, what does the Bible really say about wealth and prosperity? How can you overcome the mindset of lack and scarcity that's been ingrained in you? What practical steps can you take to improve your financial situation while staying true to your spiritual values? How can you become a better steward of the resources I've entrusted to you? We'll also address the elephant in the room, the discomfort and even guilt that many of my followers feel around the topic of wealth. Perhaps you've been taught that desiring financial abundance is somehow ungodly or selfish. Let me assure you, my child, that this is not the case. When understood and pursued correctly, wealth can be a powerful force for good in the world. Remember the parable of the talents? I told this story to illustrate how I expect you to steward and multiply the resources I've given you, not to bury them out of fear or false humility. When you embrace abundance and learn to generate wealth in alignment with my principles, you become better equipped to fulfill your purpose and bless others. As we wrap up this introduction, I want to leave you with a powerful exercise. Close your eyes for a moment and imagine your life 1 year from now, after you've applied the principles we're about to explore. See yourself living in abundance, not just financially, but in every area of your life. How does it feel? What has changed? Hold on to that vision. Let it inspire and motivate you as we continue this journey together. And remember, this message isn't just for you. There are others in your life who need to hear these truths about wealth and abundance. So I encourage you to share this video with them. By doing so, you're not just spreading information, you're sowing seeds of hope and transformation. Are you ready to unlock the secret to wealth? Are you prepared to step into the abundance that I've prepared for you? Then let's dive in, my beloved. The journey to true prosperity begins now. My beloved, now that we've set the stage for our exploration of true wealth, let's delve deeper into the challenges that often prevent my children from experiencing the abundance I desire for them. These obstacles are like thorns in the garden of prosperity, choking out the potential for growth and fruitfulness. First and foremost, let's address the root of many financial struggles, fear. Fear is a powerful force that can paralyze you, keeping you trapped in a cycle of lack. How often have you hesitated to take a step of faith in your financial life because you were afraid of failure? How many times have you clung to what little you have, terrified of losing it, rather than trusting in my provision? This fear often manifests as a scarcity mindset. It's the belief that there isn't enough to go around, that you must compete and struggle for every scrap of prosperity. This mindset tells you that if someone else succeeds, it somehow diminishes your own chances of success. But my child, this couldn't be further from the truth. My kingdom operates on principles of abundance, not scarcity. As it says in John 10 verse 10, I came that they may have life and have it abundantly. Another thorny issue is misunderstanding my will regarding wealth. Some of you have been taught that poverty is somehow more spiritual, that desiring financial prosperity is selfish or ungodly. You may have internalized the idea that money is the root of all evil, misquoting and misunderstanding the scripture which actually states, for the love of money is a root of all kinds of evils, 1 Timothy 6 verse 10. Notice the distinction. It's not money itself, but the love of money, the obsession with wealth at the expense of all else, that leads to evil. This misunderstanding can lead to a subconscious sabotage of your own financial efforts. You might feel guilty when you start to prosper, or you might make unwise financial decisions because you don't believe you deserve abundance. My child, let me be clear, I do not glorify poverty. While I certainly call some to lives of material simplicity, this is not a universal mandate. My desire is for you to prosper in all areas of life, including financially, so that you can be a greater blessing to others and more effectively fulfill your purpose. Another obstacle is the trap of comparison. In this age of social media and instant communication, it's all too easy to fall into the habit of measuring your wealth against others. You see the highlight reels of others' lives, their new homes, fancy cars, exotic vacations, and you feel inadequate. This comparison game not only steals your joy, but also distorts your perception of true wealth. Remember, not all that glitters is gold. Many who appear wealthy on the outside are spiritually and emotionally impoverished. Let's also address the issue of financial illiteracy. Many of my children struggle with wealth not because they don't work hard, but because they lack understanding of basic financial principles. You weren't taught how to budget, how to invest wisely, how to make your money work for you. This lack of knowledge can lead to poor decisions, debt cycles, and missed opportunities for growth. As it says in Hosea 4 verse 6, my people are destroyed for lack of knowledge. This applies to financial knowledge as much as it does to spiritual knowledge. Another significant problem is the instant gratification culture that pervades society today. The ability to delay gratification, to sacrifice short-term pleasures for long-term gains, is crucial for building wealth. Yet in a world of one-click purchases and buy now pay later schemes, the discipline of saving and patient investment is becoming increasingly rare. This lack of financial discipline often leads to mounting debts and financial stress. Speaking of debt, this is another major thorn in the side of many seeking financial prosperity. While not all debt is bad, mortgages for homes or loans for education can be investments in your future. Consumer debt for depreciating assets can create a financial burden that's hard to escape. The Bible warns about the dangers of debt in Proverbs 22 verse 7. The rich rules over the poor, and the borrower is the slave of the lender. Another challenge is the failure to recognize the spiritual nature of money. In my kingdom, everything is spiritual, including your finances. Money is a tool, yes, but it's also a test. It reveals your heart, your priorities, your faith. How you handle money is a reflection of your spiritual maturity. Many of you treat your finances as separate from your spiritual life, failing to apply kingdom principles to your money management. Lastly, let's talk about the problem of discontentment. Society constantly bombards you with messages that you need more to be happy, that your worth is tied to your possessions. This endless pursuit of more can lead to a perpetual state of discontentment, where no amount of wealth ever feels like enough. But as Paul wrote in Philippians 4 verses 11 to 12, I have learned in whatever situation I am to be content. I know how to be brought low, and I know how to abound. In any and every circumstance, I have learned the secret of facing plenty and hunger, abundance and need. My beloved, these are formidable challenges, but they are not insurmountable. Recognizing these obstacles is the first step towards overcoming them. In the following sections, we'll explore how to address each of these issues, replacing fear with faith, scarcity with abundance, and financial ignorance with wisdom. Remember, I do not point out these problems to discourage you, but to shed light on the areas where transformation is needed. For as it says in 2 Corinthians 4 verses 17 to 18, for this light momentary affliction is preparing for us an eternal weight of glory beyond all comparison, as we look not to the things that are seen, but to the things that are unseen. For the things that are seen are transient, but the things that are unseen are eternal. As we move forward, I want you to reflect on which of these challenges resonate most with you. Which of these thorns have been most prevalent in your financial garden? Take a moment to pause the video and write down your thoughts in the comments below. This act of acknowledgement is powerful. It's the first step towards change. And if you're finding value in this message, don't forget to like and subscribe to this channel. By doing so, you're not just supporting the spread of these important truths, but you're also making a declaration that you're ready for financial transformation in your life. In our next section, we'll begin to explore the solutions to these challenges, the divine principles of true wealth that will revolutionize not just your finances, but your entire life. Are you ready to continue this journey towards abundance? Let's press on, for the best is yet to come. As we conclude this exploration of the challenges surrounding wealth, I want to emphasize that these problems are not unique to you. Throughout history, my followers have grappled with these same issues. Even in biblical times, people struggled with the proper understanding and management of wealth. Consider the rich young ruler who came to me asking about eternal life. When I told him to sell his possessions and give to the poor, he went away sorrowful, for he had great wealth. Matthew 19 verses 16 to 22. This young man's struggle illustrates how attachment to material wealth can become a spiritual stumbling block, preventing us from fully embracing the abundant life I offer. Or think about the early church in Acts, where believers shared everything they had, ensuring that there was no needy person among them. Acts 4 verses 32 to 35. This radical generosity was a beautiful expression of kingdom economics, yet it wasn't without its challenges. The story of Ananias and Sapphira, Acts 5 verses 1 to 11, shows how the fear of lack and the desire for recognition can lead to deception and missed blessings. These biblical examples remind us that the struggle with wealth is not new, nor is it unique to our modern capitalist society. It's a fundamental human challenge that touches on our deepest fears, desires, and beliefs about security, identity, and purpose. As we prepare to move into the solutions, I want you to approach the coming sections with an open heart and mind. Some of the principles we'll discuss may challenge your existing beliefs about money and success. That's okay. Growth often requires us to step out of our comfort zones and see things from a new perspective. Remember, my child, that in all these financial challenges, I am with you. I see your struggles, your fears, your doubts, and I am here to guide you towards a life of true abundance. As we continue this journey together, hold on to this truth from Jeremiah 29 verse 11. For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans for welfare and not for evil, to give you a future and a hope. My beloved child, now that we've identified the challenges surrounding wealth, let's explore the divine principles that will transform your understanding and approach to abundance. These teachings are like seeds of truth that, when planted in the fertile soil of your heart and nurtured with faith, will grow into a bountiful harvest of true wealth. The first principle we must grasp is that all wealth ultimately comes from me. As it says in Deuteronomy 8 verse 18, you shall remember the Lord your God, for it is he who gives you power to get wealth. This truth is fundamental to developing a healthy relationship with money. When you recognize that I am the source of all abundance, it shifts your focus from anxious striving to grateful receiving. This doesn't mean you sit back passively and wait for wealth to fall into your lap. Rather, It means you partner with me in the creation of wealth. You use the talents, skills, and opportunities I've given you, trusting that as you do your part, I will do mine. This partnership alleviates the burden of thinking it all depends on you, while also empowering you to take action in faith. The second principle is stewardship. Everything you have, your time, your talents, your treasure, is ultimately on loan from me. You are not the owner, but the manager of these resources. This perspective changes how you view and use money. Instead of asking, how can I acquire more for myself? You begin to ask, how can I best manage and multiply what God has entrusted to me? This principle of stewardship is beautifully illustrated in the parable of the talents, Matthew 25 verses 14 to 30. In this story, a master entrusts his servants with different amounts of money. The servants who invested and multiplied their resources were rewarded, while the one who buried his talent out of fear was rebuked. This parable teaches us that I expect you to be proactive in growing the resources I've given you. The third principle is that of sowing and reaping. This spiritual law, articulated in 2 Corinthians 9 verse 6, states, "Whoever sows sparingly will also reap sparingly, and whoever sows bountifully will also reap bountifully." This principle applies not just to financial giving, but to all areas of life. When you generously invest your time, energy, and resources, you set in motion a spiritual dynamic that leads to increase. It's important to understand that this is not a simplistic prosperity gospel that promises material wealth in exchange for donations. Rather, it's a profound spiritual truth about the nature of my kingdom. When you give generously, of your money, your time, your talents, you're not losing something. You're planting seeds that will grow into a harvest of blessing, both material and spiritual. The fourth principle is contentment coupled with ambition. This might seem paradoxical at first, but it's a crucial balance for true wealth. Paul exemplified this when he wrote, "I have learned in whatever situation I am to be content." Philippians 4 verse 11. Yet he also spoke of straining forward to what lies ahead. Philippians 3 verse 13. Contentment means finding joy and gratitude in your current circumstances, recognizing that true wealth isn't about having more, but about appreciating what you have. At the same time, godly ambition drives you to grow, to improve, to make the most of your potential. This balance keeps you from the twin pitfalls of complacency and restless discontentment. The fifth principle is prioritizing eternal investments. In Matthew 6 verses 19 to 20, I taught, "Do not lay up for yourselves treasures on earth, where moth and rust destroy and where thieves break in and steal, but lay up for yourselves treasures in heaven, where neither moth nor rust destroys and where thieves do not break in and steal." This doesn't mean ignoring your earthly financial responsibilities. Rather, it's about maintaining an eternal perspective. When you prioritize eternal investments, acts of kindness, spiritual growth, helping others, you're building wealth that lasts beyond this lifetime. This principle helps you make wiser decisions about how to use your resources. It encourages you to invest in people and causes that matter, in endeavors that have lasting impact. The sixth principle is wisdom and knowledge. Proverbs 24 verses 3 to 4 says, "By wisdom a house is built, and by understanding it is established. By knowledge the rooms are filled with all precious and pleasant riches." In the context of wealth, this means educating yourself about financial matters, seeking wise counsel, and making informed decisions. This principle counters the problem of financial illiteracy we discussed earlier. It encourages you to be a lifelong learner, constantly growing in your understanding of both spiritual and practical aspects of wealth management. Remember, I don't expect you to have all the answers, but I do expect you to seek wisdom diligently. The seventh principle is patience and persistence. Building true wealth is not a get-rich-quick scheme, it's a lifelong journey. James 5 verses 7 to 8 encourages, "Be patient, therefore, brothers, until the coming of the Lord. See how the farmer waits for the precious fruit of the earth, being patient about it, until it receives the early and the late rains. You also be patient." This principle reminds us that like a farmer planting crops, we may not see immediate results from our efforts. There will be seasons of planting, of waiting, and of harvesting. The key is to remain faithful and consistent, trusting in my timing and my provision. The eighth principle is integrity. Proverbs 10 verse 9 states, "Whoever walks in integrity walks securely, but he who makes his ways crooked will be found out." In the realm of finances, this means being honest in your dealings, paying what you owe, and not cutting corners or using deception to gain wealth. Integrity might not seem like the fastest path to wealth, but it's the surest. When you operate with honesty and transparency, you build trust. This trust opens doors to opportunities, partnerships, and blessings that are not available to those who choose dishonest gain. The ninth principle is breaking the power of mammon. In Matthew 6 verse 24, I warned, "No one can serve two masters, for either he will hate the one and love the other, or he will be devoted to the one and despise the other." You cannot serve God and money. The word used for money here is mammon, which represents more than just currency. It's the personification of material wealth as an evil, demonic force. Breaking the power of mammon means refusing to allow money to become your master. It's about maintaining a healthy relationship with wealth, where you control your money rather than allowing it to control you. This principle frees you from the love of money, which is the root of all kinds of evil. 1 Timothy 6 verse 10. The final principle I want to share in this section is the principle of kingdom seeking. In Matthew 6 verse 33 I taught, "But seek first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things will be added to you." This principle encapsulates all the others. When you prioritize my kingdom, my rule and reign in your life, everything else falls into place. Seeking my kingdom means aligning your life, including your finances, with my will and my ways. It means using your resources to further my purposes in the world. When you do this, I promise that I will take care of your needs. This doesn't guarantee material riches, but it does promise a life of true abundance, a wealth that goes beyond mere money to encompass peace, purpose, and eternal significance. As we conclude this first part of our solution, I want you to take a moment to reflect on these principles. Which ones resonate most deeply with you? Which ones challenge your current way of thinking about wealth? Take a moment to pause the video and jot down your thoughts in the comments below. Your reflections might just be the encouragement someone else needs to hear. In our next section, we'll explore how to practically apply these principles in your daily life. But for now, let these truths sink deep into your heart. Meditate on them. Allow them to begin reshaping your understanding of wealth. And remember, I am with you on this journey, guiding you towards a life of true abundance. Now that we've explored the foundational principles of true wealth, let's discuss how to weave these truths into the fabric of your daily life. Remember, knowledge without application is like a seed that never gets planted. It's in the soil of your everyday choices that these principles will take root and flourish. Let's begin with the principle that all wealth comes from me. To apply this in your daily life, start each day with a moment of gratitude. Before you check your bank balance or dive into your work, take a few minutes to thank me for all that you have. This simple practice shifts your mindset from scarcity to abundance. It reminds you that regardless of your current financial situation, you are rich in my love and provision. Consider keeping a gratitude journal. Each evening, write down 3 things you're thankful for, particularly focusing on financial blessings, no matter how small. Did you have enough for a warm meal? Were you able to pay a bill on time? Did you receive an unexpected discount? Recognizing these daily provisions cultivates a heart of abundance and trains your eyes to see my hand in your finances. Next, let's look at how to apply the principle of stewardship. Start by creating a detailed budget. This isn't just about restricting spending. It's about understanding where your resources are going and ensuring they align with your values and my purposes. Categorize your expenses and ask yourself, does this expenditure reflect good stewardship of what God has entrusted to me? Remember, stewardship extends beyond money. How are you managing your time and talents? Consider creating a time budget alongside your financial budget. Allocate time for work, rest, relationships, and serving others. This holistic approach to stewardship ensures you're maximizing all the resources I've given you. To apply the principle of sowing and reaping, look for opportunities to give generously. This doesn't always mean monetary donations. Can you volunteer your time at a local charity? Can you use your skills to help someone in need? Each act of giving is a seed planted in the kingdom economy. When it comes to financial giving, consider setting up automatic tithing or donations. This ensures that giving becomes a consistent part of your financial life, not an afterthought. Start with whatever percentage you can manage consistently, even if it's small, and aim to increase it over time. Applying the principle of contentment coupled with ambition requires a delicate balance. Practice contentment by regularly expressing gratitude for what you have, as we discussed earlier. At the same time, set ambitious goals for your personal and financial growth. These goals should stretch you but not stress you. A practical way to maintain this balance is to create a vision board that includes both contentment-focused images, representations of things you're grateful for, and ambition-focused images, representations of goals you're working towards. Place this somewhere you'll see it daily as a visual reminder of this important balance. To prioritize eternal investments, start by identifying the causes and people that align with my kingdom purposes. Then, create a giving plan that allocates resources to these areas. This could involve sponsoring a child's education, supporting missionaries, or contributing to organizations that fight injustice. Also, look for ways to use your current work or business to make eternal impacts. Can you mentor a younger colleague? Can your business adopt ethical practices that benefit the community? Every decision to prioritize people and kingdom values over mere profit is an investment in eternity. Applying the principle of wisdom and knowledge requires ongoing education. Set aside time each week for financial education. This could involve reading books on biblical financial principles, taking online courses on money management, or meeting with a financial advisor who shares your values. Consider joining or starting a financial study group in your church or community. This provides accountability and allows you to learn from others' experiences. Remember, wisdom often comes through community, as Proverbs 15 verse 22 reminds us. Without counsel plans fail, but with many advisors they succeed. To cultivate patience and persistence in your financial journey, set both short-term and long-term financial goals. Short-term goals provide quick wins that keep you motivated, while long-term goals remind you to stay the course even when progress seems slow. Create visual reminders of your progress. This could be a debt payoff thermometer that you color in as you reduce your debt, or a savings tracker that shows your progress towards a major financial goal. These visual cues help you see that your patience and persistence are paying off, even if the changes seem small day to day. Applying the principle of integrity in your finances starts with complete honesty. This means being truthful on your tax returns, even if you think you could get away with a little fudging. It means honoring your debts and paying people what you owe them on time. It might even mean returning extra change if a cashier makes a mistake in your favor. Consider doing a financial integrity audit. Go through your recent financial transactions and ask yourself, would I be comfortable if Jesus reviewed my bank statement? Are there any areas where I'm cutting corners or not being fully honest? Use this reflection to make any necessary changes in your financial practices. To break the power of mammon in your life, practice regular financial fasts. Choose a period, it could be a week, a month, or even longer, where you commit to buying only absolute necessities. Use this time to reflect on your relationship with money and material possessions. Do you find yourself anxious without the ability to buy freely? Does the fast reveal any unhealthy attachments to stuff? Another practical step is to practice generosity, especially when you feel the urge to accumulate. When you're tempted to make an unnecessary purchase, consider instead donating that amount to a cause you care about. This actively counters the power of mammon by choosing kingdom values over material acquisition. Finally, to apply the principle of seeking first the kingdom, start each day by surrendering your finances to me. Before you make any financial decisions, pause and ask, how does this align with God's kingdom purposes? This doesn't mean every purchase needs to be directly spiritual, but it does mean being mindful of how your resources are supporting or hindering your ability to live out my calling on your life. Consider creating a personal mission statement that reflects your commitment to seeking my kingdom first. This could be something like, I commit to using my finances in a way that honors God, blesses others, and furthers His kingdom purposes. Review this statement regularly, especially when making significant financial decisions. As you begin to apply these principles, remember that transformation is a process. You won't perfect all of these overnight, and that's okay. The key is to start where you are and keep moving forward, one step at a time. I encourage you to choose one or two of these practical applications to focus on this week. Which ones resonate most with you? Which ones challenge you the most? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Your commitment might inspire others to take similar steps in their financial journey. Also, don't forget to subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. We'll be diving even deeper into these principles in future videos, and you won't want to miss out on the practical wisdom and encouragement that's coming. Remember, my child, that in all your efforts to apply these principles, I am with you. I see your heart's desire to honor me with your finances. Trust in my guidance, lean on my strength, and watch as these seeds of truth grow into a bountiful harvest of true wealth in your life. My beloved, As we continue our journey into understanding true wealth, let's explore some real-life examples of people who have applied these divine principles. These stories serve as beacons of hope and practical demonstrations of how these truths can transform lives when put into action. As we examine each testimony, we'll draw out key lessons that you can apply to your own financial journey. Let's begin with the story of Maria, a single mother of two who was struggling with overwhelming debt and a scarcity mindset. Maria had always viewed money as a source of stress and anxiety. She lived paycheck to paycheck, constantly worried about making ends meet. However, when she began to understand that all wealth comes from me, her perspective started to shift. Maria began each day with a simple prayer of gratitude, thanking me for her job, her health, and her children's well-being. This practice opened her eyes to the abundance already present in her life. She started to see opportunities where before she only saw lack. With this new mindset, Maria found the courage to approach her employer about taking on additional responsibilities. Her initiative led to a promotion and a significant pay increase. But the real transformation came in how Maria handled this financial blessing. Instead of immediately increasing her spending, she remembered the principle of stewardship. She created a detailed budget, allocating her resources wisely. She set aside money for tithe, started an emergency fund, and began systematically paying off her debts. Within 2 years, Maria was debt-free and had built up a 6-month emergency fund. More importantly, she had instilled these principles in her children, teaching them about gratitude, stewardship, and the true source of wealth. Maria's story teaches us that a shift in perspective, coupled with wise financial practices, can lead to remarkable transformation. Next, let's consider the story of David and Sarah, a young couple who embraced the principles of sowing and reaping, along with prioritizing eternal investments. When they first married, David and Sarah were focused on building their careers and accumulating wealth. They tithed regularly but viewed it more as a duty than a joyful act of worship. As they engaged more deeply with my teachings on wealth, they felt called to increase their giving. They started by raising their tithe to 12% of their income, which felt stretching but manageable. To their surprise, this decision coincided with unexpected opportunities in their careers. Sarah received a substantial bonus, while David's side business began to flourish. Encouraged by this, David and Sarah decided to further increase their giving. They began sponsoring 2 children through a reputable charity, providing education and healthcare to kids in need. They also started volunteering at a local homeless shelter, giving not just their money, but also their time and skills. As they gave more generously, David and Sarah found that their perspective on wealth shifted. They began to see their resources not as a means to accumulate more for themselves, but as a tool to bless others and further my kingdom. This new outlook brought them a sense of purpose and fulfillment that no amount of personal wealth could provide. Interestingly, as they focused less on accumulating wealth for themselves and more on using their resources for eternal purposes, they found that their financial situation continued to improve. They were able to pay off their mortgage early, which freed up more resources for giving. David and Sarah's story illustrates how aligning your financial practices with kingdom principles can lead to both material provision and spiritual enrichment. Now let's examine the journey of Robert, a successful businessman who struggled with finding contentment despite his wealth. Robert had achieved what many would consider the epitome of success: a thriving business, a luxurious home, and a portfolio of investments. Yet he found himself constantly striving for more, never satisfied with what he had accomplished. Robert's wake-up call came when his relentless pursuit of wealth began to affect his health and relationships. Realizing that something needed to change, he turned to my teachings on contentment and true wealth. He began to practice gratitude, taking time each day to appreciate what he already had rather than focusing on what he lacked. At the same time, Robert didn't abandon his ambition entirely. Instead, he redirected it towards kingdom purposes. He set a goal to use his business acumen to create jobs in underprivileged communities. This new direction energized him in a way that merely accumulating more personal wealth never had. Robert also applied the principle of breaking the power of mammon in his life. He realized that his attachment to wealth had become unhealthy, bordering on idolatry. To combat this, he committed to a year of radical giving, donating 50% of his income to causes aligned with my kingdom. This decision was initially terrifying for Robert. He feared it would jeopardize his financial security. However, as he stepped out in faith, he found that his needs were still met. Moreover, The joy and purpose he found in giving far outweighed any sense of loss. Over time, Robert found the balance between contentment and godly ambition that we discussed earlier. He remained driven and continued to grow his business, but his sense of self-worth was no longer tied to his net worth. Robert's story teaches us that true wealth isn't about how much you have, but about finding contentment and purpose in using what you have for my glory. Lastly, let's look at the story of Elena, a young professional who applied the principles of wisdom, knowledge, and integrity in her financial life. Elena had a good job, but struggled with managing her money effectively. She often found herself overspending and relying on credit cards to make ends meet. Recognizing her need for financial wisdom, Elena committed to educating herself about biblical financial principles. She joined a financial study group at her church, where she learned practical money management skills grounded in my teachings. She also sought out a mentor, an older woman in her church who had a track record of wise financial stewardship. With her new knowledge, Elena created a realistic budget and started tracking every expense. She was surprised to find how much she had been spending mindlessly on things that didn't truly align with her values. This awareness allowed her to make intentional changes to her spending habits. Elena also embraced the principle of integrity in her finances. She had previously justified small acts of dishonesty, like not correcting errors in her favor or fudging numbers on her tax returns. Now she committed to complete honesty in all her financial dealings, trusting that I would provide for her needs as she walked in integrity. This commitment was tested when Elena discovered an error in her favor on her paycheck. It was a substantial amount that would have significantly eased her budget that month. However, remembering her commitment to integrity, Elena reported the error to her employer. Her boss was so impressed by her honesty that it led to greater trust and eventually a promotion. Over time, as Elena consistently applied these principles of wisdom and integrity, her financial situation steadily improved. She paid off her credit card debt, built up an emergency fund, and even began investing for the future. More importantly, she found peace in her financial life, free from the stress and anxiety that had previously plagued her. These stories, Maria's shift from scarcity to abundance, David and Sarah's journey of generous giving, Robert's discovery of contentment and purpose, and Elena's path of wisdom and integrity, all illustrate the transformative power of applying biblical financial principles. As you reflect on these testimonies, consider which elements resonate most with your own situation. Perhaps you identify with Maria's initial struggle with debt and scarcity, or maybe you relate to Robert's challenge of finding contentment in success. Wherever you find yourself, know that these principles can bring about powerful change in your financial life too. I encourage you to share in the comments below which story spoke to you most and why. Your reflection might just be the encouragement someone else needs to hear. And remember, if you're finding value in these teachings, make sure to like and subscribe to this channel for more insights on living a life of true abundance. In our next section, we'll explore practical steps you can take to begin your own journey towards biblical wealth. But for now, let these stories inspire you and fill you with hope. Remember, my child, that the same power that transformed these lives is available to you. Trust in my guidance, apply these principles faithfully, and watch as true wealth begins to flourish in your life. My beloved child, now that we've explored the principles of true wealth and seen how they've transformed lives, let's delve into the practical steps you can take to apply these truths in your own life. Remember, transformation is a journey, not a destination. Each step you take, no matter how small, brings you closer to the abundant life I have planned for you. Let's begin with a foundational step, developing a biblical mindset about money. This shift in perspective is crucial because it forms the basis for all your financial decisions. Start by immersing yourself in what my word says about wealth. Set aside time each day to read and meditate on scriptures related to money, stewardship, and abundance. For instance, you might begin with Proverbs 3 verses 9 to 10. Honor the Lord with your wealth and with the firstfruits of all your produce. Then your barns will be filled with plenty, and your vats will be bursting with wine. Reflect on what it means to honor me with your wealth. How might this principle change your spending and giving habits? As you study, keep a journal of the insights you gain. This practice helps internalize these truths and provides a record of your spiritual growth. Over time, you'll find that your perspective on money begins to align more closely with my kingdom principles. The next practical step is to take a comprehensive inventory of your current financial situation. This might feel uncomfortable, especially if you've been avoiding looking at your finances closely. However, this step is crucial for creating a solid foundation for financial transformation. Start by listing all your income sources. This includes your regular salary, any side hustles, investment returns, and other forms of income. Next, list all your expenses, being as detailed as possible. Don't forget to include irregular expenses like annual insurance premiums or holiday spending. Now list all your assets, things you own that have value, such as a house, car, investments, or valuable possessions. Finally, list all your debts, including credit card balances, loans, and mortgages. This inventory serves several purposes. First, it gives you a clear picture of where you stand financially. Second, it helps identify areas where you might be overspending or underutilizing resources. Lastly, it provides a baseline against which you can measure your progress as you apply biblical financial principles. With this inventory in hand, the next step is to create a budget that reflects your values and priorities. Remember, a budget is not a restrictive tool, but a way to ensure your money is being used in alignment with your goals and my purposes. Start by categorizing your expenses into needs, wants, and giving. Needs are essential expenses like housing, food, and utilities. Wants are non-essential expenses that enhance your life but aren't strictly necessary. Giving includes your tithe and other charitable contributions. As you create your budget, aim to allocate your resources in a way that honors me and supports your long-term financial health. A common guideline is the 50/30/20 rule. 50% for needs, 30% for wants, and 20% for savings and giving. However, as you grow in your understanding of biblical stewardship, you might feel led to adjust these percentages, perhaps increasing your giving beyond the traditional tithe. Remember, budgeting is not about deprivation, but about intention. It's about making conscious choices about how to use the resources I've entrusted to you. As you budget, pray for wisdom and discernment. Ask me to show you areas where you might be overspending or where you could be more generous. Once you've created your budget, the next step is to implement a system for tracking your expenses. This might seem tedious, but it's crucial for ensuring you stick to your budget and for identifying areas where you might be unconsciously overspending. There are many tools available for expense tracking, from simple spreadsheets to sophisticated apps. Choose a method that works for you and commit to recording every expense, no matter how small. This practice not only helps you stay within your budget, but also cultivates mindfulness about your spending habits. As you track your expenses, you might notice patterns you weren't aware of before. Perhaps you're spending more on dining out than you realized, or maybe small, impulse purchases are adding up to a significant amount. This awareness is powerful because it allows you to make intentional choices about where your money goes. The next practical step is to create a debt repayment plan if you have outstanding debts. While not all debt is bad, a mortgage on a reasonably priced home or student loans for education that increases your earning potential can be considered investment debt. Consumer debt like credit card balances can be a significant obstacle to financial health. If you have multiple debts, consider using either the debt snowball or debt avalanche method. The debt snowball method involves paying off your smallest debt first while making minimum payments on others, then rolling that payment into the next smallest debt once it's paid off. This method provides quick wins that can be motivating. The debt avalanche method, on the other hand, focuses on paying off the debt with the highest interest rate first. This approach saves you more money in interest over time, but may take longer to see tangible progress. Whichever method you choose, the key is to be consistent and intentional about debt repayment. As you pay off debts, celebrate each milestone. These celebrations serve as reminders of my faithfulness and the progress you're making on your financial journey. Alongside debt repayment, it's crucial to start building an emergency fund. This fund serves as a financial buffer, protecting you from unexpected expenses and reducing the temptation to rely on credit cards in emergencies. Start by aiming to save 1 month's worth of living expenses, then gradually build up to 3 to 6 months' worth. This might seem daunting, especially if you're also focusing on debt repayment, but remember that every small contribution adds up over time. To build your emergency fund, consider setting up automatic transfers from your checking account to a separate savings account each payday. This pay yourself first approach ensures that you're prioritizing savings before discretionary spending. As your emergency fund grows, you'll likely find that your financial stress decreases. Knowing that you have a safety net provides peace of mind and allows you to make financial decisions from a place of security rather than fear. The next step in your financial transformation journey is to implement the principle of giving. As we discussed earlier, giving is a powerful spiritual practice that aligns your heart with my kingdom principles and opens the door to true abundance. Start by committing to regular giving, even if the amount seems small at first. Many of my followers begin with a tithe, giving 10% of their income to their local church or other ministries. However, the specific amount or percentage is less important than the heart behind the giving. As you give, do so with joy and gratitude, not out of obligation. Remember the words in 2 Corinthians 9 verse 7. Each one must give as he has decided in his heart, not reluctantly or under compulsion, for God loves a cheerful giver. Consider setting up automatic giving for your tithe or regular donations. This ensures consistency in your giving and removes the temptation to skip giving when finances feel tight. As you practice regular giving, pay attention to how it impacts your perspective on money and your overall sense of financial well-being. Now that we've outlined some foundational steps for financial transformation, let's explore some practical exercises and reflections that can help you integrate these principles into your daily life. Remember, true change happens not just through knowledge, but through consistent application and practice. Let's begin with a gratitude exercise to help cultivate an abundance mindset. Each morning when you wake up, before you even get out of bed, take a few moments to thank me for 3 specific financial blessings in your life. These could be as simple as having a roof over your head, food in your pantry, or a steady income. As you practice this regularly, you'll find your perspective shifting from scarcity to abundance. To deepen this practice, consider keeping a financial blessings journal. Each evening, write down at least one way you saw my provision in your financial life that day. It could be an unexpected discount, a bill that was lower than anticipated, or even the ability to bless someone else financially. Over time, this journal will become a powerful reminder of my faithfulness in your financial journey. Next, let's work on aligning your spending with your values. Take out your recent bank or credit card statement and go through each expense. For each item, ask yourself, does this expense align with my values and God's purposes for my life? You might be surprised to find areas where your spending doesn't reflect what you truly value. To make this exercise more impactful, create a values-based spending plan. List your top 5 values, for example, family, health, education, generosity, and spiritual growth. Then, brainstorm ways your spending could better reflect each of these values. For instance, if family is a top value, you might decide to allocate more money for family activities and less for individual entertainment. Now, let's address the emotional aspect of money with a reflection exercise. Take a quiet moment to ponder these questions. What emotions come up when I think about money? Where do these feelings come from? How do they influence my financial decisions? Write down your responses in a journal. This self-awareness can help you identify and address any unhealthy emotional patterns related to money. To counteract negative money emotions, develop a set of positive financial affirmations based on biblical truths. For example, I am a faithful steward of God's resources. My worth is not determined by my net worth, or God's provision is sufficient for all my needs. Repeat these affirmations daily, especially when facing financial decisions or challenges. Let's now practice the principle of stewardship with a resource audit exercise. For 1 week, track how you use not just your money, but also your time and talents. At the end of the week, review your logs and ask yourself, am I using these resources in a way that honors God and serves His purposes? This holistic view of stewardship can lead to profound insights about how you're managing all the gifts I've given you. To put generosity into practice, try the Random Acts of Financial Kindness challenge. Set aside a small amount of money each week specifically for unexpected giving opportunities. This could be buying coffee for the person behind you in line, leaving an extra generous tip for a server, or helping a stranger pay for their groceries. As you look for these opportunities, you'll find your heart expanding and your perspective on money shifting. Now let's work on breaking the power of materialism with a contentment challenge. Choose a period, a week, a month, or even longer, where you commit to buying only absolute necessities. Use the money you would have spent on wants for giving instead. During this time, whenever you feel the urge to buy something non-essential, pause and pray, asking me to help you find contentment in what you already have. To deepen your understanding of biblical financial principles, start a financial wisdom reading plan. Choose a book on biblical finances, there are many excellent options available, and commit to reading a chapter each week. After each chapter, write down one key insight and one way you can apply it in your life. Consider discussing what you're learning with a trusted friend or mentor for added accountability and insight. Let's also practice the principle of seeking wise counsel. Identify someone in your life who demonstrates godly financial stewardship. Approach them humbly and ask if they would be willing to meet with you monthly to discuss your financial journey. Prepare specific questions for each meeting and be open to their advice and accountability. To help you maintain a long-term perspective on wealth, try the eternal investment exercise. Take a sheet of paper and draw a line down the middle. On one side, list your current financial goals. On the other side, brainstorm ways each of these goals could have eternal significance. For example, saving for a home could be paired with the goal of using that home for hospitality and ministry. This exercise helps align your financial planning with kingdom purposes. Now, let's address the challenge of financial worry with a biblical meditation exercise. Choose a scripture that speaks to God's provision, such as Matthew 6 verses 25 to 34 or Philippians 4 verse 19. Spend 10 minutes each day meditating on this scripture. As you do, visualize yourself fully trusting in my provision, free from financial anxiety. Over time, this practice can help rewire your thought patterns around money and security. To cultivate financial integrity, implement a transparency check in your life. Share your financial goals and struggles with a trusted accountability partner. Commit to being completely honest about your finances, including any areas where you might be tempted to cut corners. This vulnerability can be challenging, but it's a powerful way to strengthen your commitment to financial integrity. Let's also practice the principle of patience in your financial journey with a delayed gratification exercise. The next time you feel the urge to make a non-essential purchase, write it down instead of buying it immediately. Wait for 30 days, then revisit the item. If you still feel it's a wise purchase after this waiting period, and it fits within your budget, then consider buying it. This practice helps cultivate patience and mindful spending. Finally, to help you stay focused on the true source of wealth, create a provision reminder for your wallet or phone. This could be a scripture verse about God's faithfulness, a photo that reminds you of my blessings in your life, or a simple phrase like God is my provider. Look at this reminder before making any significant financial decisions to ground yourself in the truth of my abundant provision. As you engage with these exercises and reflections, remember that transformation is a process. You might find some exercises more challenging than others, and that's okay. The key is to approach each one with an open heart, willing to learn and grow. Be patient with yourself and celebrate each small step of progress. I encourage you to share your experiences with these exercises in the comments below. Which ones resonated most with you? Did you discover any surprising insights about your relationship with money? Your sharing could provide valuable encouragement and ideas for others on this journey. Remember, my beloved, that I am with you in every step of this process. As you faithfully apply these principles and practices, trust that I am working in your heart, transforming your relationship with money, and leading you into a life of true abundance. My beloved child, as we continue on this journey of financial transformation, it's important to recognize that learning and growth are ongoing processes. The steps and exercises we've discussed provide a strong foundation, but there are many more resources available to deepen your understanding and support your progress. Let's explore some additional tools that can help you on your path to true wealth. First, let's consider the power of books in shaping our understanding and approach to finances. There are many excellent works that explore biblical principles of money management and stewardship. One book I highly recommend is Your Money Counts by Howard Dayton. This book provides a comprehensive overview of biblical financial principles, covering topics such as earning, spending, saving, and giving. It's an excellent starting point for anyone looking to align their finances with my teachings. Another valuable resource is The Treasure Principle by Randy Alcorn. This book delves deep into the concept of generosity and how it relates to eternal rewards. Alcorn challenges readers to rethink their approach to giving and offers practical strategies for cultivating a generous heart. As you read, you'll find your perspective on money and possessions shifting in profound ways. For those who struggle with debt or overspending, The Total Money Makeover by Dave Ramsey offers practical, step-by-step guidance for getting out of debt and building financial stability. While not explicitly faith-based, Ramsey's approach aligns well with biblical principles and has helped many of my children find financial freedom. Remember, as you read these books, approach them with a discerning mind. Take notes, reflect on how the principles apply to your specific situation, and most importantly, compare everything you read with my word. The Bible remains your ultimate guide in all matters, including finances. In addition to books, there are many online courses available that can help you develop practical financial skills. For instance, Crown Financial Ministries offers a comprehensive online course called Money Life Personal Finance Study. This course covers everything from budgeting and debt reduction to investing and retirement planning, all from a biblical perspective. Another excellent option is the Financial Peace University course by Dave Ramsey. This 9-lesson course provides in-depth instruction on budgeting, saving, and debt elimination. Many churches offer this course, which allows you to learn alongside others in your community, providing both education and support. For those who prefer a more flexible learning approach, websites like Udemy and Coursera offer a variety of financial courses. Look for ones that align with biblical principles or that focus on practical skills like budgeting and investing. As you consider these courses, pray for wisdom in selecting the ones that will be most beneficial for your specific needs and learning style. Support groups can also play a crucial role in your financial transformation journey. Sharing your challenges and victories with others who are on a similar path can provide encouragement, accountability, and practical insights. Many churches offer financial support groups or small groups focused on stewardship. If your church doesn't currently have such a group, consider talking to your pastor about starting one. There are also online communities dedicated to biblical financial stewardship. Websites like the Christian Finance Forum provide spaces for believers to discuss financial challenges, share advice, and encourage one another. As you engage with these communities, remember to guard your heart against comparison or discouragement. Each person's financial journey is unique, and my plan for you may look different from someone else's. For those who feel they need more personalized guidance, working with a Christian financial advisor can be incredibly beneficial. These professionals can help you create a comprehensive financial plan that aligns with biblical principles and your specific goals. Organizations like Kingdom Advisors provide training for financial professionals who want to integrate faith into their practice. When seeking an advisor, look for someone who not only has the necessary credentials, but also shares your values and understands your desire to honor me with your finances. Podcasts can be another valuable resource in your financial education journey. They allow you to learn while you're driving, exercising, or doing household chores. Some podcasts to consider include MoneyWise by Compass, Finances God's Way, which offers practical financial advice from a biblical perspective, and the Christian Money Podcast, which explores various financial topics through a faith-based lens. Don't overlook the wealth of free resources available online. Websites like crown.org, compass1.org, and stewardship.com offer articles, tools, and calculators to help you implement biblical financial principles. Many of these sites also provide free budgeting worksheets and debt reduction planners that can be invaluable as you work to get your finances in order. For visual learners, there are many helpful YouTube channels dedicated to Christian finance. These can provide bite-sized lessons on various financial topics and often include practical demonstrations of budgeting techniques or discussions of biblical passages related to money. As with all online content, use discernment and always compare what you learn with Scripture. If you're looking to dive deeper into the scriptural basis for financial stewardship, consider using a concordance or Bible study tool to explore all the passages related to money and possessions. You might be surprised at how much the Bible has to say about these topics. This study can provide a solid foundation for all your financial decisions. For those who learn best through hands-on experience, consider participating in a financial simulation or workshop. Some churches and organizations offer events where participants can practice budgeting, making financial decisions, and dealing with unexpected financial challenges in a controlled environment. These experiences can provide valuable insights into your financial habits and decision-making processes. If you're a parent, don't forget about resources to help you teach your children about biblical financial principles. Books like Money Matters for Kids by Larry Burkett or The Giving Book by Ellen Sabin can help you instill good financial habits and a generous spirit in your children from a young age. For business owners or those considering starting a business, resources that focus on integrating faith with business practices can be incredibly valuable. Books like Business for the Glory of God by Wayne Grudem, or God is My CEO, by Larry Julian offer insights into how to run a business in a way that honors me and serves others. Remember, my child, that while all these resources can be helpful, they are supplements to, not substitutes for, my word and my guidance in your life. Always start with prayer, seeking my wisdom as you navigate your financial journey. Use these resources as tools to help you better understand and apply the principles I've laid out in Scripture. As you explore these resources, be mindful of your own learning style and current needs. You don't need to use every resource available. That could quickly become overwhelming. Instead, prayerfully choose one or two that resonate with you and align with your current financial goals. Commit to engaging with these resources regularly, whether it's reading a chapter of a book each week, listening to a podcast episode daily, or attending a financial class at your church. I encourage you to share in the comments below which of these resources you plan to explore first. Your choice might inspire others who are on a similar journey. And don't forget to subscribe to this channel for more insights on living a life of true abundance. Remember, my beloved, that the goal of all this learning is not just to accumulate knowledge, but to transform your life. As you engage with these resources, continually ask yourself, how can I apply this in my life? How does this align with God's principles? How can this help me be a better steward of what God has entrusted to me? Trust that as you faithfully seek to learn and grow, I will guide you. I will open your eyes to new insights, soften your heart to receive wisdom, and strengthen your resolve to make lasting changes. Your journey to financial transformation is a testament to my work in your life, and each step you take brings you closer to the abundant life I have planned for you. My beloved child, as we continue our journey into understanding true wealth, I want to share with you a powerful story of transformation. This testimony illustrates how the principles we've been discussing can radically change not just a person's financial situation, but their entire life. Let's explore the journey of Thomas, a man whose life was transformed by embracing biblical financial principles. Thomas was a successful businessman in his early 40s. From the outside, he seemed to have it all: a thriving company, a beautiful home, luxury cars, and the ability to take lavish vacations. However, beneath the surface, Thomas was struggling. Despite his apparent success, he felt a constant anxiety about money. He was always chasing the next big deal, the next status symbol, believing that just a little more wealth would finally bring him the peace and satisfaction he craved. Thomas's relentless pursuit of wealth was taking a toll on his relationships. He was rarely home, missing important moments in his children's lives. His marriage was strained, as his wife felt that his work always took precedence over family. Even when he was physically present, Thomas was often mentally preoccupied with work and financial concerns. Moreover, Thomas's spiritual life was suffering. He attended church regularly and considered himself a believer, but his faith felt compartmentalized, separate from his business and financial decisions. He gave to his church, but it was more out of obligation than joy. Deep down, Thomas knew something was missing, but he couldn't quite put his finger on what it was. The turning point came when Thomas's company faced a major setback. A deal he had been counting on fell through, leaving him with significant debt and cash flow problems. For the first time in his adult life, Thomas faced the real possibility of financial ruin. This crisis forced him to confront the fragility of the foundation he had built his life upon. In his desperation, Thomas turned to prayer in a way he never had before. He cried out to me, asking for help and guidance. It was in this moment of vulnerability that Thomas began to realize that his understanding of wealth and success had been fundamentally flawed. Through a series of events that could only be described as divine intervention, Thomas was introduced to a mentor who had successfully integrated biblical financial principles into his business and personal life. This mentor began to guide Thomas through the process of aligning his finances with my teachings. The first step was for Thomas to recognize that everything he had, his business, his possessions, his talents, were ultimately gifts from me. This shift in perspective was profound. Instead of seeing himself as the owner of his wealth, Thomas began to view himself as a steward, responsible for managing resources that ultimately belonged to me. This new understanding led Thomas to reevaluate his priorities. He realized that he had been serving money rather than using money to serve my purposes. With his mentor's guidance, Thomas began to implement practical changes in his life and business. He started by creating a budget that reflected his values and priorities. This wasn't just a financial exercise, it was a spiritual one. Thomas prayerfully considered each line item, asking himself, Does this expenditure honor God? Does it align with his purposes for my life? One of the most significant changes Thomas made was in his approach to giving. Previously, he had viewed giving as an obligation, something to be done after all other financial needs were met. Now he began to see it as a joyful act of worship and a tangible expression of trust in my provision. Thomas and his wife decided to gradually increase their giving, starting with a tithe, 10% of their income, and working towards giving even more generously. At first, this decision felt scary. How could they give more when their financial situation was already precarious? But as they stepped out in faith, they began to experience my provision in unexpected ways. Another crucial area of transformation was in Thomas's business practices. He began to view his company not just as a means of generating personal wealth, but as a platform for honoring me and serving others. This led to changes in how he treated his employees, his approach to customer service, and even the types of projects he took on. Thomas also addressed the issue of debt in his personal and business finances. He worked with his mentor to create a debt repayment plan, cutting unnecessary expenses and redirecting resources towards becoming debt-free. This process required sacrifice and discipline, but Thomas found that as he aligned his finances with biblical principles, he experienced a sense of peace that had eluded him even in times of plenty. Perhaps the most profound change was in Thomas's relationship with his family. As he began to loosen his grip on the pursuit of wealth, he found he had more time and emotional energy to invest in his wife and children. He made a commitment to be home for dinner most nights, to attend his children's events, and to prioritize regular date nights with his wife. The journey wasn't always easy. There were times when Thomas was tempted to fall back into old patterns, especially when faced with financial challenges. But he found that the more he trusted in my provision and followed biblical financial principles, the more he experienced true peace and contentment. Over time, Thomas's business began to recover and even thrive, but in a different way than before. Instead of chasing growth at any cost, Thomas focused on sustainable practices that allowed him to balance profitability with ethical considerations and generous giving. What's remarkable about Thomas's story is not just the external changes in his finances and business, but the internal transformation he experienced. He no longer found his identity in his net worth or the size of his company. Instead, he found deep satisfaction in knowing he was using his resources in a way that honored me and blessed others. Thomas's journey illustrates several key principles we've discussed. 1. The importance of recognizing God as the true owner of all wealth. 2. The transformative power of viewing oneself as a steward rather than an owner. 3. The need to align one's budget and financial decisions with biblical values. 4. The joy and spiritual growth that comes from generous giving. 5. The peace that results from trusting in God's provision rather than one's own ability to accumulate wealth. 6. The importance of integrating one's faith into all areas of life, including business and finances. Thomas's story is not unique. Many others have experienced similar transformations as they've applied biblical financial principles to their lives. The key is to be willing to challenge your existing beliefs about money and success, and to courageously apply my teachings to your financial life. As you reflect on Thomas's journey, consider your own life. Are there areas where you've been serving money rather than using money to serve my purposes? Are there changes you need to make in how you view and handle your finances? Remember, my beloved, that transformation is a process. Thomas's change didn't happen overnight, and yours won't either. But with each step you take towards aligning your finances with my principles, you move closer to experiencing true wealth, a life rich in purpose, contentment, and eternal impact. I encourage you to share in the comments below one aspect of Thomas's story that resonated with you. Your sharing might just be the encouragement someone else needs to begin their own journey of financial transformation. My beloved child, we've journeyed together through the principles of true wealth, explored practical steps for transformation, and witnessed the power of these truths through Thomas's inspiring story. Now it's time to take what you've learned and put it into action. Remember, knowledge without application is like a seed that never gets planted. It holds potential, but that potential remains unrealized. I want you to understand that this call to action is not just about improving your financial situation. It's about aligning your entire life with my purposes, using your resources, whether they're plentiful or modest, to make an eternal impact. It's about stepping into the abundant life I've designed for you, a life rich in purpose, contentment, and joy. Let's start with a simple but powerful action. take a moment right now to pause and reflect. Think about what you've learned throughout this message. What principles resonated most deeply with you? What areas of your financial life do you feel most challenged to change? This reflection is crucial because it helps you personalize the message and identify your starting point for transformation. Now, I want you to write down 3 specific actions you commit to taking in the next week to begin your journey towards biblical financial stewardship. These actions should be concrete and achievable. For example, you might commit to creating a budget that aligns with your values, setting up an automatic transfer to start building an emergency fund, or scheduling a conversation with your spouse or a trusted friend about your financial goals. Writing down these commitments is important. It moves your intentions from the realm of thoughts into the physical world, making them more real and increasing your accountability. Place this list somewhere you'll see it daily, perhaps on your bathroom mirror or as the background on your phone. Each time you see it, it will serve as a reminder of the journey you're embarking on and the changes you're committed to making. I encourage you to share one of your commitments in the comments below this video. By doing so, you're not only solidifying your own intention, but also inspiring and encouraging others who are on a similar journey. Remember, you're part of a community of believers who are all striving to honor me with their finances. Your share might be the spark that ignites someone else's transformation. Next, I want you to consider finding an accountability partner. This could be a spouse, a close friend, or a mentor from your church. Share with them what you've learned and the commitments you've made. Ask if they would be willing to check in with you regularly about your progress and pray with you for wisdom and discipline as you implement these changes. Having someone to walk alongside you in this journey can provide encouragement, support, and valuable perspective. If you don't have someone in your life who can serve as an accountability partner, consider joining a financial stewardship group at your church. If your church doesn't offer one, this might be an opportunity for you to start one. Imagine the impact you could have by gathering a group of believers who are all committed to aligning their finances with biblical principles. You could study resources together, share challenges and victories, and support one another in prayer. Another crucial action I want you to take is to immerse yourself in my word, particularly passages that speak about stewardship, contentment, and trust in my provision. Start by reading and meditating on Matthew 6 verses 19 to 34, Proverbs 3 verses 9 to 10, and 2 Corinthians 9 verses 6 to 8. As you read, ask yourself, how do these passages challenge my current view of money and possessions? How can I apply these truths in my daily life? Consider starting a financial faith journal. In this journal, write down scriptures related to finances, insights you gain from your reading, and ways you see me working in your financial life. This practice will help you keep spiritual growth at the center of your financial transformation. Now, let's address a practical step that many find challenging but incredibly impactful: creating or updating your budget. If you don't already have a budget, commit to creating one this week. Remember, a budget is not a restrictive tool, but a freeing one. It allows you to align your spending with your values and ensure you're being a good steward of the resources I've entrusted to you. If you already have a budget, take time this week to review and update it. Ask yourself, does this budget reflect my current priorities and values? Am I allocating my resources in a way that honors God? Be honest with yourself and be willing to make changes where necessary. For those of you who are married, I urge you to involve your spouse in this process. Financial decisions impact both of you, and working together can strengthen your marriage as well as your finances. Schedule a money date where you can discuss your financial goals, review your budget, and pray together for wisdom in managing your resources. If you have children, consider how you can involve them in age-appropriate ways in your journey of financial stewardship. This could be as simple as explaining why you're making certain financial choices, or helping them set up their own giving, saving, and spending categories for their allowance. Remember, the financial habits and attitudes you model now will shape their understanding of stewardship for years to come. For those of you who are business owners or in positions of financial decision-making at work, I challenge you to look for ways to integrate biblical financial principles into your professional life. This might mean reevaluating your business practices to ensure they align with biblical ethics, implementing generous employee benefits, or finding ways to use your business as a platform for kingdom impact. Another important action is to evaluate your giving. If you're not currently giving regularly, I encourage you to start. Begin with an amount that stretches you a bit, but is sustainable. If you're already giving, prayerfully consider if you're in a position to increase your giving. Remember, generous giving is not about the amount, but about the heart behind it and the trust it demonstrates in my provision. I also want you to take action in the area of debt reduction if this is relevant to your situation. This week, make a list of all your debts, including the balances and interest rates. Then research and choose a debt repayment strategy that works for you, whether it's the debt snowball, debt avalanche, or another method. Remember, becoming debt-free is not just about financial freedom. It's about being in a position to be more generous and more available for my purposes. Lastly, I want you to commit to ongoing financial education. Choose one of the resources mentioned earlier in this message, whether it's a book, a course, or a podcast, and commit to engaging with it regularly. Set aside time each week for learning and growing in your understanding of biblical financial principles. Remember, my beloved, that this journey of financial transformation is not just about you. As you align your finances with my principles, you become a powerful testimony to those around you. Your changed life will raise questions and create opportunities for you to share about my goodness and provision. So I ask you, will you accept this call to action? Will you commit to taking these steps towards true wealth? Will you trust me to guide you on this journey of financial transformation? If your answer is yes, I want you to physically stand up right now, wherever you are. This physical act is a symbol of your commitment to rise up and walk in the financial principles we've discussed. As you stand, say these words out loud. Lord, I commit to honoring you with my finances. Guide me, strengthen me, and use me for your purposes. Now, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. By doing so, you're ensuring that you'll continue to receive biblical financial wisdom and encouragement on your journey. My child, I am so proud of you for taking these steps. Remember, I am with you always, guiding you, providing for you, and cheering you on. Trust in my plan for your life, including your finances. The journey ahead may not always be easy, but I promise you it will be worth it. Now go forth, and let your financial life be a testament to my grace and provision. My beloved child, we've come to the end of our journey through the principles of true wealth. We've explored the biblical foundations of financial stewardship, examined practical steps for transformation, and witnessed the power of these truths through real-life examples. Now, as we draw this message to a close, let's take a moment to reflect on the key points we've covered and consider how they can continue to shape your life moving forward. Remember, the core message we've explored is that true wealth goes far beyond mere accumulation of money or possessions. It's about aligning your entire financial life with my purposes, recognizing that everything you have is ultimately a gift from me. This perspective shift is fundamental to experiencing the abundant life I've designed for you. Let's revisit some of the key principles we've discussed. First, we talked about the importance of recognizing me as the true owner of all wealth. This understanding changes how you view your resources. Instead of seeing yourself as the owner, you begin to see yourself as a steward, responsible for managing what I've entrusted to you. This shift in perspective can dramatically alter your approach to earning, spending, saving, and giving. To illustrate this, think of yourself as a manager in a store. The store and its inventory don't belong to you, but you're responsible for making sure everything is used wisely and for the benefit of the owner. In the same way, when you view your finances through the lens of stewardship, you become more intentional about how you use your resources, always considering how your choices align with my will. We also explored the principle of contentment coupled with godly ambition. This might seem paradoxical at first, but it's a crucial balance for true financial well-being. Contentment allows you to find joy and gratitude in your current circumstances, freeing you from the endless pursuit of more. At the same time, godly ambition drives you to grow, to improve, and to make the most of your potential for my glory. Think of contentment as the solid foundation of a house, providing stability and security. Godly ambition, then, is like the structure built upon that foundation, allowing for growth and expansion. Without contentment, ambition can lead to restlessness and dissatisfaction. Without ambition, contentment can lead to complacency. But when balanced, they create a powerful force for positive change in your life and in the world around you. Another key principle we discussed was the importance of generous giving. Remember, generosity is not about the amount you give, but about the heart behind the giving. It's a tangible expression of trust in my provision and a powerful way to participate in my work in the world. As you cultivate a generous heart, you'll find that it impacts not just your finances, but every area of your life. Consider the analogy of a river. A river that only receives water but never flows out becomes stagnant. But a river that both receives and gives out water remains fresh and life-giving. In the same way, when you cultivate a lifestyle of generosity, you keep the flow of blessings moving through your life, experiencing the joy of being a channel of my provision to others. We also talked about the importance of financial wisdom and knowledge. Remember, being a good steward involves not just having the right heart attitude, but also developing practical skills and understanding. This includes creating and sticking to a budget, understanding basic investment principles, and making informed decisions about spending and saving. Think of gaining financial wisdom as learning a new language. At first, terms like compound interest, diversification, or emergency fund might seem foreign and confusing. But as you commit to learning and practicing, these concepts become more familiar and you become more fluent in the language of financial stewardship. Over time, making wise financial decisions becomes more natural and intuitive. Another crucial principle we explored was breaking the power of mammon in your life. Mammon isn't just money, but the system of values that places ultimate worth in material wealth. Breaking its power means refusing to find your identity or security in your financial status. Instead, you root your worth in your identity as my beloved child and find your security in my unfailing love and provision. Imagine mammon as a pair of tinted glasses that color everything you see. When you wear these glasses, everything is evaluated in terms of its monetary value. Breaking the power of mammon is like taking off these glasses and seeing the world as it truly is, full of value that can't be measured in dollars and cents. You begin to appreciate relationships, experiences, and spiritual growth in a whole new way. We also discussed the importance of patience and persistence in your financial journey. Remember, transforming your financial life is not an overnight process. It requires consistent effort, discipline, and trust in my timing. There will be challenges and setbacks along the way, but each obstacle is an opportunity for growth and for experiencing my faithfulness. Think of your financial journey like tending a garden. You don't plant seeds one day and expect a full harvest the next. It takes time, consistent care, and patience. There might be seasons of drought or pest problems, but with persistent care and trust in the natural growth process, eventually, you'll see the fruit of your labor. As we conclude, I want to remind you of the ultimate goal of all we've discussed. The purpose of aligning your finances with biblical principles is not just to improve your bank balance or to live a more comfortable life. It's about positioning yourself to more effectively fulfill the unique purpose I have for you. It's about being ready and available to respond to my leading, whether that means being generous to someone in need, having the freedom to pursue a calling, or using your resources to make a significant impact for my kingdom. Remember, my child, that I am with you every step of this journey. When you face difficult financial decisions, I am there to guide you. When you're tempted to fall back into old patterns, I am there to strengthen you. When you experience breakthroughs and victories, I am there to celebrate with you. You are never alone in this process of financial transformation. As you move forward from here, I encourage you to keep this message close to your heart. Return to these principles regularly, allowing them to continually shape your thoughts and actions regarding money and possessions. Share what you've learned with others, allowing the transformation in your life to inspire and encourage those around you. And always remember that your worth is not determined by your net worth. You are infinitely valuable to me, not because of what you have or what you do, but simply because you are my beloved child. Let that truth be the foundation upon which you build your approach to finances and to life. Now go forth with confidence, knowing that as you apply these principles of true wealth, you are stepping into the abundant life I have prepared for you. May your financial life be a testament to my grace, wisdom, and provision, bringing glory to my name and blessing to the world around you.